Hello, artists. So the last time that we met, we drew a slice of cake. It looked like this. And I thought it would be fun if we drew where this slice of cake came from. So today I'm going to show you how to draw a whole cake with a slice taken out of it. All right. So let's draw a cake. Now, if you're finding this through YouTube, but you've not gone to the website, I have a website, and the address is mrdaleart.weebly.com, and there's a lot of resources and lots of extra things that you can do related to art and creativity there. And you'll find a lot of resources that go with this lesson on this website, links and more descriptions and things like that. So definitely take a look at that. So let's see, what do we need for today? We need some paper, we'll need a pencil, and we'll need something to color with. And today I'm going to be using some colored pencils, but you could use markers, you could use crayons, oil pastels, chalk pastels. If you have a watercolor set at home, you could paint on this. However you want to add color, there's 1,000 correct answers to this artistic problem that we're going to solve today. And that problem today is, how do we draw a cake that looks 3D? And it looks like we took a slice out of it. So before we draw, an artist will always take a look at a reference picture. What does the thing look like in real life? So I can break it down into simple steps and be able to put that on paper. So I found this image of a chocolate cake, and it looks like vanilla or a white icing frosting, some chocolate drizzles. There's a big strawberry right in the middle. We can see that there's a slice taken right out of this cake. And if we look at this picture, and I try to break it down into simple shapes and lines, what would that look like? So I would create an oval shape for the bottom and an equally sized oval shape that represents the top. I would need lines going down or vertically on either side so that it would show the edge of the cake. And if I was drawing a whole cake that had not been cut into, I could stop right there. But we want to take a slice out. And to get this shape, if you notice, it's very similar to the shape of a triangle. So I have a triangle at the bottom, and I have a triangle at the top. And by drawing 3 lines, one from each point, connecting the top triangle to the bottom, it might not look like it right now, but I think you'll be surprised to see that it will create the illusion of a 3-dimensional cake. Now, a little bit of art history. If we're drawing a cake, it would be a huge mistake not to talk about the artist Wayne Thiebaud. Wayne Thiebaud is an American painter, and at the time of this recording, he is 99 years old, and he is famous for these bright colors of, sometimes they're rows and rows of cakes, or slices of pie, or bubblegum machines, or sometimes sandwiches. His work is so bright and colorful, and the paint that he uses is so thick it looks like it's real frosting. It looks like I could scoop that on my finger and eat it. Excuse me. Now, on the website, there will be a link to explore more of Wayne Thiebaud's beautiful dessert paintings. So be sure to check that out. All right, so let's get started. Now, the first thing I need is my paper, and I need my pencil. Excuse me. And I'm going to be drawing some very light lines. Now, in my art classroom, we call these ghost lines. They're very, very light. They're almost not there. And the reason why we start off with these ghost lines is because it makes it a lot easier to erase if there's a part that we don't like. We can always go back and make some lines darker. But if you've ever pushed down really hard and then tried to erase, it can leave an image left behind. And if you want to be really neat and clean with your artwork, it helps to draw lightly first and then go back over for the lines you want to keep to make them a little bit more permanent. All right, so the first thing, if you remember when we broke that big cake down into simple shapes, I had an oval at the top and I had an oval at the bottom. Now, if you want a little cake, you draw a little oval. If you want a really big cake, you draw a large oval. I'm going to draw something very somewhere in the middle. And this does not have to be perfect. You can see my lines are very, this is called a gesture line. It's the idea, the rough, I can go around and around until I get the shape that I like, and I have this oval. It does not have to be perfect. Remember, this is a cake. And unless you have a very fancy cake decorator, every cake I have ever made has always had a little bit of a wonky side to it. So if I draw an oval up here, I want an oval that is very similar to the same size as the top one. I'm going to draw it again. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We just want it to be very similar in size to the top. Okay, so the biggest part is making sure that the edge and the edge of this oval and the edge of this oval are very, very close. Okay, now you could draw a cake that was very precariously balanced where it looks like it's about to topple over, but for this project, for today, I think I'm going to keep it as a regular old, normal looking cake. Okay, so we have a top oval. That's going to be the very top of our cake. And the bottom oval, this is the base of our cake. And we won't see much of this. A lot of this line, a lot of this oval is going to be erased in a moment. So you'll see why we drew so very lightly. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line going straight up and down vertically. I'm going to draw a line from this point of the oval down to touch this point of the oval. That very outside tip, the tippy tip. Now if I do it on the left, I'm going to do it on the right. Okay, you can see that we are getting a very good cake shape. However, it looks like this is a transparent cake, like it's made out of a clear liquid or clear jelly, and I don't know. That might be good, but I think I want my cake to be a little bit more solid, don't you? All right, so let's make a slice taken out of the cake. Now to help me, I'm going to put a little dot in the very center of the top oval. And I'm going to put a dot in the very center of the bottom oval. Okay? So I have a dot here and I have a dot here, and they're both roughly in the center of the oval. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be pretty similar. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw the top of a triangle. I'm going to draw the top of a triangle. So the sides, I'm going to go from this dot. I'm going to make a diagonal line going down until I touch the edge of the oval. And then I'm going to come back to the dot and draw a diagonal line going this direction. And I'm going to draw it until it touches the edge of that oval. So far, so good. I'm going to do the exact same thing with this dot down here. I'm going to draw a diagonal line going down and to the left until I touch the edge of the oval. I'm going to draw a diagonal line going down and to the right until I touch the oval. All right. We need only 3 more lines to finish our cake, and then we'll add details and clean it up and color and do all the good stuff that makes it look like a finished drawing. So what I'm going to do, I have vertical lines on either side here, and I need vertical lines. I need 3 more. I'm going to make a vertical line from this bottom point to its matching bottom point here. Straight down until it touches. I'm going to make a straight vertical line from this point to its matching bottom point until it touches. And then finally, from the top of this triangle to its matching point here, I'm going to draw a straight vertical line. Okay. You can start to see, maybe, hopefully, that this is looking like a cake. We do have some things that we need to cut out to erase from our cake. The first thing I'm going to do is this part of the cake that's in between the triangle. I don't really need that anymore. It was a guide to help me get the shape that I needed, but I no longer need it. Okay. I'm going to keep, so I'm going to draw a little bit darker this part of the oval. Got little eraser boogies there. And then I want to keep this part of my cake right there. But the rest of that oval that's inside the cake, I don't really want, because I wouldn't see it. If I had a big chocolate cake or a strawberry cake, I would not see through the cake. It would be opaque. It would be dense. Right now it was transparent. I could see through it. However, when I erase those lines, I'm gonna make this one darker because I know I definitely need to keep that one and that one, this one. I need the edges of my cake. Oops. When I draw on these videos, I keep my paper taped so that I don't move it all over the place since there's a camera right up above. But when I draw, I tend to move my paper all the way around in all different positions to get the right angle. So I'm learning. I would definitely see this part of the cake, so I'm going to make sure that it's dark. Outline my line a little bit more. Let me come up. Now this part here and here, I would erase. I would not see that part of the oval. Hey, look at that. Now right now it looks like a giant, well, it could be anything. It could be cake. It could be a giant wheel of cheese with a slice of cheese cut out of it. We need to add some more information to tell our audience what it is we want them to see. Now, when I look at my cake, now this slice of cake is definitely shorter, so maybe maybe this slice of cake came from a different cake, but I have layers. When we drew a slice, we made layers, and you could have made 2 or 3 layers of cake. I think because this cake is so tall, I think I need at least 3 layers. Now you could have more, you could have less, it's totally up to you. And to do that, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make some, I call these copycat lines. So this line here, I'm going to draw it again. I'm going to give myself some space for my layer. I'm going to draw it again, same direction. Skip a little bit of space and draw it again so that I have a layer of cake and some frosting in between. And I'm going to scoot down about the same way I did here, going in the exact same direction, diagonal line going down to the right. Skip a little bit of space for that frosting and do it again. Okay. If I did it on this side, I want to do it again on this side, but I'm going to make sure that I'm following this line. I'm copying this line so it's going down and to the left. And so I'm going to start here at every point, down and to the left, and down and to the left, down and to the left, down and to the left. Now that looks like a cake. It's a good cake, but it's a boring cake. So this is where you could have a lot of fun decorating and making it look exactly the way you want. Maybe you have some frosting around the edge. I can erase parts of the cake that I wouldn't see inside of that frosting. I'm not worried too much because I'm going to be adding color in just a moment. Maybe there's a drizzle. Maybe there's like a chocolate drizzle or a strawberry drizzle on the cake. And so I'm going to make that wavy line. You don't have to. And maybe there's, what kind of decoration can we put at the top? I like the frosting idea on the bottom, so maybe I do these sort of raindrop shapes for the frosting on the edge. There's 100 different ways you could decorate a cake. There's no wrong way, that's for sure. Let's make, I think I'll put a big old strawberry on mine. You don't have to. I think my cake will be a strawberry chocolate cake. So that's why I'm putting a strawberry on mine. All right. So as you work, and finish up your cake, you can think about, certain ingredients would be certain colors. So I think I have had a strawberry cake before, and I think I want the frosting, the icing, the biggest part of it to be pink. Usually strawberry flavored things have that pink and red color to them. Now you can color this with flat color if you want. And it could be just a line drawing and be completely fine without any color. You could shade it if you wished. You could color it with one layer of color. That would be okay too. If you're practicing with your more advanced art lessons and want more of a challenge, I will show you how we can add layers of color to get some texture and shadows and things like that. So I've got the sides. I think I'm going to make the chocolate drizzle there. So I definitely need this and this. And if this is a drizzle, then I'm thinking the top is going to be covered in chocolate. So let me find a dark chocolate brown. Strawberries and chocolate. Then I'm going to color the top, and I think I'm going to leave my frosting, I might make it pink, those little bits, little fancy border, so I'll go back with the pink, but the rest will be this chocolate brown. Now, a good technique when you're coloring with colored pencil or crayon is when you color, if you notice my colored pencil, I'm coloring in the same direction, and that makes the coloring more smooth and unified, and it doesn't look as scribble-scrabbly. Find that pink. Where are you, pink? I think I'll color those bits in pink. And I think for the inside of my cake, I want a light tan that looks like a regular kind of cake color. So I'm gonna lightly color this inside of my cake. I'm using tan, but yours could be dark chocolate. It could be strawberry. It could have, it could be white cake with the confetti sprinkles inside, so it has all these little dashes of color. That would be kind of cool. Let's see, I need nice bright red. For my strawberry. And some green for the stem. Now I could be done with it just like that. So if you're starting out and you're happy with this and you say, you know what, I'm good, this is something I'm proud of, then congratulations, you drew an amazing cake. If you want to take it one step further, we're going to add some layers of color to take it away from looking like a coloring book coloring and giving it some more dimension and depth and interest. And so that's what we're going to do now. So what I'm going to do, the first color I chose was the pink color for the frosting, and I'm going to choose darker colors of I could use some light blue, some regular blue. If you have a darker pink, this I happen to have a colored pencil that has this dark rose color, and I'm going to add a little bit of this dark pink, not all over, but over here on the edge. Okay, and also on this side over here near the edge. Okay. And I think I'm going to outline my chocolate icing drizzle with some of that dark pink, just to help it stand out a little bit. All right, so already just adding a little bit darker color, a darker pink over there, has helped tremendously. But let's say you didn't have a dark pink, what could you do? So I'm going to choose sort of a light blue, and I want to show you that a light blue on here will darken that pink to make it sort of like a lilac purple, which is an excellent color for a shadow. Because red and blue make purple, a light blue and pink, which is light red, red with white added to it, will make another type of purple, a very light purple. And just like I did with that pink, I'm going to go and add a little bit. Look, it makes it look dimensional, gives it a little bit of shadow, doesn't it? When I go over and outline a little bit that drizzle. Looking pretty great. All right. Let's see. I think for the inside of my cake, I'm going to find the brown that I used, and I'm going to add a little bit of a fleck, a little bit. I'm not hammering down with a colored pencil. That hurts the pencil and makes a sloppy mess, but I'm making some crumb dots in my cake, just to make it look like the cake part itself. And little crumbs and little air pockets. And bake that cake. Okay? And with a light brown, I'm going to lightly, very lightly, and if you notice, I'm holding this way back here so that I'm not putting any pressure on it. But I'm very lightly coloring it and blending those two colors together. And it makes it look like this one, this size. This part is more in shadow. And I can do a little bit right there in the crease. Not a whole lot. Little bit. Okay. Let's take a look at the top here. So it's a flat color of that chocolate color. And I don't use a lot of black, but I want this to look a bit more chocolatey. So a little bit of black, and I'm gonna hold it way back in the back like I did before, because I don't want to push down too hard. I don't want to cover up all my good work, but I definitely want to make that chocolate a little bit darker, like chocolate syrup. You can always, when you're adding light, excuse me, let me say that again. When you color lightly, you can always add more and more and more layers. However, if you start off dark and then you realize, oh gosh, I went way too dark, you're sort of stuck, because it's not like paint. You can't, there's some tricks you can do to lighten up the color, but usually, for the most part, once it's colored, is colored. Now, this would be a good time if you notice that because I'm adding all these layers, some of my pencil lines are really getting lighter. They're not as dark anymore. So I'm going to go back over with my black colored pencil, and I'm going to just go over and trace those lines again, so that I don't lose all that hard work that I put into it at the very beginning. Okay. Now, my favorite shadows are blues and purples. So I'm going to use some purple up here just to give that dark brown some oomph. Not a whole lot. I'm just adding a little bit. And that strawberry needs to stand out, doesn't it? So I've got a white. And a lot of times the white colored pencil is the colored pencil that's used the least, because we usually draw on white paper. However, if I color that strawberry with the white, it will really blend that color, lighten it up a little bit, and you can see that it makes it a little bit easier to see. You can use it as a blending tool. So I've got a brighter red, and everything has had a shadow, so I'm not going to leave that strawberry out. I'm going to use that purple to start off with. And then some blue. Black is a really strong color, so I very rarely use black to add shadows and shading because it's so dark. But I will use things like blues and purples because it will darken up the color without making it crazy. I think I'm going to add some blue down here so it's the shadow on the plate. And this is all optional. You could have stopped anytime you wanted to. It's the thing I love about drawing. You get to say when you're done. And your artist brain will tell you. When your brain says, you know what? You just need to finish this one bit. It's just not going to be finished until you add that detail or add a little bit of orange right there, whatever the problem is. And you should listen to that because that's your artist brain making those decisions. It's giving you the answer. Now, sometimes I don't want to listen because it means more work. But if I do listen to it, even if it's more work, I'm usually always happy with the outcome. I'm proud of what I've made. All right, kiddos. We have a delicious, yummy cake. And it all started from an oval at the top, an oval at the bottom, a triangle, and a bunch of straight lines. And everything else was completely your choice. How do you want to design it? How do you want to decorate it? If you draw another cake, what if it had flowers? What if it had birthday candles? We could do all kinds of things. Don't forget to sign your work. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, if you are finding this without the website, check out the other resources at mrdaleart.weebly.com.